Hi Shane, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So to start, I like that this movie, I had no idea what I was getting into, and I like that this is like a weird crime rom-com situation, and they're
Yeah.
running around just stealing some shit. And
Hmm.
for you, when I love that they're just like gonna steal a boat. And so for
Right.
when you are kind of like playing this cute southern little guy who just rolls up town and is just trying to steal some stuff and gets
Right.
roped into this bigger deal. How did you kind of like navigate, playing like this guy who, he has no stakes, but then suddenly has all of the stakes in the game because he's not getting paid unless they succeed. And now he
Right.
has this girl he has to care about.
Right. I mean, that's a great point. I think that he knows he's on a one-way track at this point. But pre-meeting her, he knows he's look, he's not a bad guy. He's misunderstood, but he's doing some bad things, right? So he has had a troubled life. He's on the run for multiple reasons, and that's going to only go so far. So at some point, so he's always been looking for love, and that is eluded him in his family life and him growing up, and he's not obviously interested in the two girls that was with him in the beginning of the movie, and it's but he also knows that there's a shelf life here, right? So running into her, there's the immediate attraction, but I also what I was alluding to before, or just in my own head, is that they're kind of kindred spirits. You know, sometimes you just know, and taking from movies like True Romance with Quentin Tarantino, with Slater and Arquette in that movie, a lot of the things they're doing are even more extreme than what was going on in this movie because when you know, and the connection is happening there. So I think the stakes at this point, he knows he's not going anywhere,
Mhm.
literally in life. Just driving around in that car, he's not really going anywhere. So this is his moment once he feels that connection and sees that there is one, opens up to her. He hasn't opened up to anyone. And at that point, he's along for the ride, so to speak. And I think the lunacy of the characters feeling like they can do these kind of things or that they is very real. It's a very, I mean, we see this in small town life all the time. We see this on the news all the time in some way, shape, or form. So I think with them, it's sort of nothing is done properly. Everything is done loosely and with kind of without an abandon. You think that they're thinking things out, but they always screw things up because they're not perfect. And I think that's what gives the film a quality that might hopefully make it resonate with some people that watch or laugh or truly enjoy that.
Yeah, I talked to Matthew yesterday and I said, I'm obsessed with this small town, all these people. Because, like, that one frat boy, I couldn't figure out his
Yeah,
damn bill to save my life. When he apologized to her, when she grabbed his wrist and then apologized when you punched him in the face, I was like, what's his deal? He was like,
yeah,
he shouldn't, he was like, it was not scripted that he apologized, but that guy just kept apologizing and we kept it in. And I was like, I love the characters in this movie because
that's
none of it
great.
makes any sense. But like,
No, no, but also the thing to capitalize on that, the a lot of these characters brought that to them. You know, a lot of these actors brought that to the
yeah.
characters, and a lot of the background that you're seeing in this film are real people that were
Mhm.
really in this town and all had these quirks to begin with. So it really is just telling you a quirky story that based on off of a serious thing and
Yeah.
based off of a realistic everyday life.
Yeah, well, when Matthew and I talked a lot about the accents, and particularly yours, because he said you're from down south. I went to school in North Carolina, but I liked that like this movie kind of pushes back at the idea that Southern accents in particular, like you have to talk really slow. I was like, this they were talking so fast in this movie with Southern accents, and I was like, great, like yeah. Because when I moved there, I was like, oh no, everyone's gonna talk slow. And I was like, that's not the case. Everyone's talking about
No,
it. And I was like, oh, I fit right in. But
I was
like
gonna say you'll get lost immediately. Yeah,
yeah, I was like, oh, I fit right in because I was from North and then California, and I was like, oh, great, I'm fine. But I really enjoyed kind of like the way that the accents work and how everyone just kind of like it wasn't like a, the typical kind of here is a southern accent and there's this draw. And when you guys are on set, was there ever, well, I talked to Matthew, I know it wasn't, but like, did you personally have to adjust at all, or was it more just like you got to embrace kind of being from the South and getting to use your accent and not having to kind of, you know, do the movie star version of a Southern accent in a film?
It's nice to be able to be, from an area that is, conducive to what you're going to do. But also with Dion, he's a drifter, right? So he's going to take a lot of different accents. Wherever he goes, he's going to bring some of that with him. So I also didn't want to make him harsh and too pointed and too on the nose from being from a specific spot. Because as we know, in the South and the Midwest, and there's a different inflection and different accent in every state. And definitely in northern part of Louisiana and southern part in the middle, there's all sorts of different affectations that you can do. So for me, I just wanted to give him something casual to show that you know he's the odd man out. The rest of them, I thought the actors just kind of nailed it because yeah, there wasn't, like you were saying, there wasn't you weren't trying too hard. Um, and that's the most important thing when you go into these things and you for lack of a better term, try too hard and you make everything the emphasis on certain things, it stands out in a negative way. And I think this way, yeah, not slowing down things, not turning it into a slow, deliberate drawl. It's just like speak normal, go, 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 because that's how we all do. And just don't make it an emphasis on something that becomes like a caricature.
Yeah. And I also do, I love kind of the relationship between like you and Willa Holland, like Sue. I do think
Oh, good.
that is such, it's kind of, it's a realistic thing because it is, born out of a necessity into something that does work because I just love her too because I do think yesterday I accidentally when I did my interview was in like I'm in New York where it was freezing. I was in like a tank top with a sweater over it and I realized I was wearing what she had on because I was like, oh yeah, that's what all of us do anyway. But I was like,
Uh-huh.
I like how realistic like she was where she was like, I'm a girl who's working in a bar. But I do like that relationship because
Right.
it's two people who are like, no, I'm just in this situation. I don't care. And when you guys are
Right.
working together and you are like trying to build this two people who like are not looking for anything or not people who like necessarily would kind of try and find a romantic relationship, how did you guys kind of work together to build that dynamic and make it, it's not a rom-com, but it still did work and was funny to kind of watch, this tough
Right.
guy let her swindle some guys out of pool and then just or like out of pool table and then just leave the bar.
Well, I know it's great. I mean, I think, at least how speaking for myself, I see that in the story lies a romantic heartbeat, right? So, as long as you get there,
Mhm.
or as long as there's a semblance or some semblance of that in the film, then you're golden. That's the most important part. But the fact that they don't trust each other, there's so much mistrust and trust, and then they don't trust each other again. And that kind of led itself to letting us explore how to get there. Now, we did have that typical, you never know what's going to happen in a movie with the filming schedule, where day one, I'm pretty positive it was either day one or day two, where we did the finale, without giving too much, but a little finale part of us liking each other. That was awkward because we weren't there yet. Um, but thankfully, I think as you see the movie go along and up to that, you'll because everything obviously shoots out of order, but you'll be able to see that kind of grow.
Mhm.
And I think the majority of the time there's an attraction there, but they don't know, they're trying to figure each other out. There's
Mhm.
not so I think that part is thank God to Willa for being able to go there, and hopefully I was able to too, and I think the scenes kind of lent themselves to that.
Yeah.
The writing really did. It kind of helped us. It wasn't a um well, like my favorite, like true romance, as I was saying before, where they just fall in love immediately and then go do crazy stuff. And this was like, we don't trust you, we don't trust you, we don't trust you, all the way to the end. And I think the realism of there helped it out.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I do have to apologize because Matthew 100% is going to bring this up to you when he sees you next. I told him
Okay.
I can't cross a state line without thinking of you because of a walk to remember. And he goes, I'm going to bring that up when I see him next. And I was like, oh no. So I do have to apologize because he is going to say that to you when he sees you next.
It's okay because well, then that should be tomorrow because I
Yeah,
should be,
I think
I'm
he did say.
guessing, I guess I'll be seeing him tomorrow. Yes.
He was
Love
like,
that.
I'm going to tell him that a journalist they can't think.
Let's see if he actually remembers. I'll probably be seeing him for a couple of days, so he's got plenty of time to figure it out.
But yeah, I was like, oh man, I said that to him, and then he is going to say it, and I'm going to be like, sorry, I'm sorry. It was
I will
me.
remember.
But
That's okay.
thank
I
you so much
love
for
it.
having me. It was I can't wait for people to get to see the movie.
Oh, good, man. I can't wait to see the movie in the big screen. This will be fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great
Bye
one.
on.